Are you afraid to eat? Food fear is hurting us more than the food. I can't tell you how many clients contact me telling me they can't eat this, they can't eat that, they can't eat the other thing because they heard a doctor tell them, or an Instagrammer or someone on YouTube saying that you can't have lectins, you can't have oxalates, you can't have nightshades, whatever. So everywhere we turn, someone's telling us certain foods are toxic, right? So here's the truth. Food fear is destroying more health than the foods ever did. We have to stop being afraid to eat. So today I'm going to tell you why avoiding whole nutrient-rich foods out of fear can actually make our symptoms worse, and how to get back to eating in a way that supports healing instead of stress. So let me know in the comments if you've ever felt confused or afraid of what to eat, because I've definitely been there too. So I'm Jen. I'm a culinary coach, a holistic educator, and someone who's been through the autoimmune maze myself several times, in and out of remission, right? And let me be honest, there have been times when I cut out everything: gluten, dairy, sugar, nightshades, beans, nuts. My list of safe foods just kept shrinking. And guess what? I didn't get better. I was more stressed, more now malnourished. I was really depleted, and I was more scared of my plate and what I was going to be able to eat next too. So it's time to break that cycle. We all should be able to feel healthy, even if we have a diagnosis of autoimmune disease. So food fear usually starts because we're desperate. We're told that you need to cut this thing out and it'll help you feel better. And sometimes we do feel a little better in the beginning. But then someone else comes along and says, you can't eat this either, and you can't eat that either. And before you know it, you're left to just sweet potatoes or just zucchini. Or if you eat animal products, all you can have is chicken and broccoli, right? Well, actually, maybe you shouldn't have broccoli because it's a cruciferous vegetable and that hurts Hashimoto's. And so it just keeps going on and on and on. So cutting the food out doesn't get to the root. Why are you having trouble with these foods? Because we shouldn't have to eliminate all these foods. There are people who can eat these foods just fine, right? Now, if you have an autoimmune disease or a other chronic health condition, heart disease, cancer, any of those, there's a really good chance that your gut is leaky, your microbiome is off, your blood sugar may be swinging, and food could be triggering different symptoms for you, even if they're healthy foods and foods that they tell us we need to eat. But it's not the lectins, it's not the oxalates, it's your microbiome. It's what's going on inside of your body. And the more we cut those things out, the worse that balance gets. If we have less fiber, that gives us a weaker microbiome. That gives us a thinner mucosal lining. That makes it easier to break through that gut lining, increases that gut permeability. If we have fewer phytonutrients, less colorful foods on our plate, that gives us less antioxidants, which increases our inflammation. If we have a higher stress because we're worried about what we're going to eat, because of this fear around food, that raises our cortisol, which raises our blood sugar and increases flares as well. And the more food we cut out, the less nutrients we're getting into our body, which can weaken all of our organs and our cells. It really makes our adrenals stressed out, and our liver doesn't work as well either. And so we need to watch what we're restricting. Yes, there are some times where people do have to cut things out, but it's not for permanent. It's not permanent. We need to find ways to add those foods back in. Because when we do keep cutting them out, we're just going to get sicker and sicker and sicker. You're not going to get healthier if you keep cutting out your foods. So what do we need to do? We need to work on healing the gut. Focus on prebiotic fibers that you can tolerate. So not all of us can eat the same foods. There's not a protocol, which is something that I always looked for too. I would listen to a doctor and they'd say, you have to heal the leaky gut. And I'd say, well, where's the protocol? What do I do? But it depends on you and what you tolerate. We have to start where you are. We have to fix that imbalance that's going on. We have to tighten those junctions in the intestinal lining, and we have to make sure that we are increasing motility. If you have Hashimoto's, there's a highly likely chance that you also have constipation. Everything slows down, digestion slows down, and the more your intestines slow down, the less those things are even able to work anymore. We just don't even listen to it anymore. So we have to waken that back up. by using prebiotic fibers that you tolerate. Maybe you need more cooked food. Maybe you need more raw food. We have to see where you are on the spectrum. And adding in fermented foods as well, which can be a histamine. So maybe you've been afraid to eat them because they're histamines, but there are ways to slowly increase that, slowly increase the life inside your microbiome. We need to diversify. We need to add every color. I tell my clients to eat all the colors of the rainbow at every meal. Now, if I don't eat anything but brown foods today, it's going to be really hard for me to eat the rainbow at every meal tomorrow, unless I'm eating the candies, and I definitely don't want you to eat that. And so start where you are. You know, if I'm only eating brown foods today, I need to buy something red so that tomorrow I'm eating something red. And then I can start looking at other colors. I need to put in some green. I need to put in some yellow. I need to add a purple food, right? Slowly, just start where you are, because every plant brings in a unique phytochemical. All those different colors are different chemicals that your body and your immune system needs. We need to calm the stress response. So fear around food raises our cortisol, which keeps our antibodies high. And so that's not going to help at all. We need to be able to eat in gratitude, have mindfulness around our meals, really looking at the meal, pausing before you eat, and not multitasking around food either, and balance our blood sugar. We need to pair fiber with fat and protein. Now, I only eat plants. I am whole food plant-based. Some say vegan. I don't really like to use that word, but there are ways to balance your plate that way. Every meal needs to be balanced to keep your immune system stable. And we need you to use food as a feedback. Listen to what's happening in your body. What is your body craving right now? And what's behind that craving? Because I hear so many people saying, but I have these strong cravings for sugar. Guess what? It's the microbes in your body, or it's a nutrient that you're missing. But hundreds and hundreds of years ago, if you were craving something sweet, you wouldn't go get some sugar, but you may get a piece of fruit. So maybe there's some vitamins in there that you need. If you're craving something really salty, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they wouldn't have had potato chips, right? But they may have some mineral-rich greens, which are our salts, our natural organic salts. And so we need to really look at the body and see, what are your cravings? What's behind those cravings? What do you need? And so it doesn't mean that you can't have certain things. We need to heal the gut and start adding those foods in to make sure that your body is rich and full of all these different nutrients. So I had several clients who are afraid of eating oxalates. This one had not had any greens, even though there are greens that don't have high oxalates, beets, or chia seeds in over 3 years. She was exhausted, she was constipated, and her antibodies were off the chart. So we worked on gut healing, we added in more fiber, we supported her detox. So we don't hear a lot about detox. People are afraid of the word detox. It's a dirty word, right? But when you think about it in the conventional medical system, when we hear about someone who has liver disease or they have a liver cancer, then we immediately think, oh, they're going to die, right? We hear about people, they can have a liver transplant because the liver can regrow itself. But if you have fibrosis of the liver's not going to keep growing. And so we know death. So how do we take care of the liver? We don't hear about in the conventional world. We can take care of the liver, and it's necessary because I keep going back hundreds and hundreds of years ago. We weren't exposed to all these chemicals. We weren't wearing all these makeups and using hair products and all these things that were full of all these chemicals. So our body could naturally detox the things that we were exposed to. But now we're exposed to lots of things in our drinking water, in our air, as well as our food, our shampoo, and all the other things. And so we do need to work on detox. And so with this client, we worked on healing the gut. We added in more fiber. We supported her liver. And slowly we started introducing different foods. And guess what? She started feeling better. Her antibodies started going down. And so it wasn't the oxalates. It was she had restricted too many foods and her gut was totally out of balance. You should have chemicals. I can't remember exactly which one it is. It's oxalobacter, I think, in your gut to eat those oxalates for you. And so we need to feed the right things so those are in there to break down those oxalates for you. And that goes with all the other foods too. You don't need to buy that special supplement that doctor is telling you to buy. There are other ways to do it naturally without spending lots of money. So food fear is hurting you more than the beans, the lectins, the nightshades, or the oxalates ever will. If you're ready to step out of restriction and start rebuilding your body with food, then come join my membership, the Culinary Healing Circle. We don't live in fear. We learn, we heal, and we eat with confidence. We have so many things that we do together live on Zoom, but then there's tons of modules and recordings and other things as well. Your body is just asking for better support. And all that support doesn't come from cutting more things out. It comes from healing your gut, calming your immune system, and bringing food back in as medicine, because food truly is medicine and your body can naturally heal itself. So share this with a friend who's tired of being scared of what's on their plates, and check out culinaryhealingcircle.com.